You know, if you don't like this video, you can blame the other viewers and subscribers because this is a viewer requested video. Someone else, someone with nothing but a bunch of affiliate links that likes sniffing cameras and taking pictures of brick walls, which I don't really think that's a proper way to do a lens review, but whatever's the case, decided to make a clickbait video because just like the top 10 YouTube photography channels, it's all about generating income. And you know I'm not making any income because I'm not making any money. Because you've never seen me take a real vacation somewhere. I've had a lot of people recently say, what's a real vacation to you? I'm like 2 weeks in Iceland, a week driving around Norway, you know, taking pictures along the coast of Norway. Wouldn't mind staying in a roach motel and eating garbage either. You know, just as long as I could travel. Anyway, getting on topic. Yeah, so somebody likes to take pictures of brick walls, decided to make a clickbait video. Someone with an enormous amount of hair that sniffs cameras. Decided to tell everybody that DSLRs are dead. Well, girlfriend, let's make a distinction between digital cameras and film. And I went to Southeast Center Photographic Studies. I have shot more film than God. Guarantee you, except for maybe 2 or 3 of you. Guarantee I've shot more film than you. Certainly processed more film than God. I also used to work for the University of Kentucky School of Nursing, and they had a photography department there. And it was kind of gross, but the pay was really good. Had an enormous dark room. I had all the unlimited paper and film that I wanted, and they'd take pictures of all sorts of stuff for the medical students. They'd be like, this is a gross tumor pulled out of it's a click, and they make a bunch of prints. They'd want me to make a bunch of prints. They'd pass those around. The School of Nursing, also for doctors. You're like, this is what a gross-ass so-and-so tumor. I remember so many gross pictures when I worked there. So film. Film is, and I've had my hands in chemicals. I'm probably going to die of fixer cancer. You get cancer from handling fixer. Anyway, I've spent many years in the darkroom and my hands in chemicals. See, yeah, the difference between digital and film is that film is dead and film is a pain in the ass. Yeah, so as well it's not dead. I shoot film. It's like, yeah, but film is still dead. Yeah, it's dead. It's dead because it's a pain in the ass. It's not fast, it's slow, the chemicals, all the crap associated with film photography. So this person tried to make an analogy between film and digital, and that was his basis, his false analogy of saying why DSLRs are dead. Because, well, you know, mirrorless cameras, and I was into mirrorless cameras before he was. He's into those garbage Sonys, and I actually know what a really good camera is, and that's why I keep recommending Fujifilm. Because I know what a good camera is. And, you know, Sony's not a camera company. They're a consumer electronics company. They keep making overheating garbage. When you buy a Sony, what you're doing is you're part of a subscription service. Well, I bought it now. Well, wait for the new one. It's going to come out in 6 or 8 months. And you're going to be peer pressured to buy that one because the one you just bought is going to be obsolete in 6 or 8 months. Here's an old Nikon. Oh, actually, I thought I grabbed the Nikon D4. Sorry. I grabbed the Nikon D850 out of my case. A false analogy to make the distinction between film relative to digital, and then apply that same analogy to DSLRs versus mirrorless. I know all the advantages of mirrorless cameras. I'm not a video shooter. I know the advantages for videos that mirrorless have, and I know how great it is, especially when it's really bright and sunny out. Stick your eye up into the viewfinder and actually, you know, chimp through the EVF on your image. That is, of course, wonderful. Also, too, focus peaking. Focus peaking is so nice. Here's a nice old lens, and it's just, no. For DSLRs, the answer is no. And, of course, that is a mirrorless advantage. Sure as hell is. However, mirrorless cameras are really not that small once you actually stick a speed light. If you're going to be a photojournalist, for example, yeah, you're going to drop a speed light on your camera. Let's say Godox 685 on your camera. Yeah, here we go. I just happen to have a Godox. I've always got a Godox laying around. Yeah, actually this is for a Fujifilm mount. And then you're going to drop a lens. Mirrorless is not any damn small. Assured, no. It's not. It's not no. It's not. I don't know if you've ever seen the 200mm f2 Fujifilm lens. I'm not dumping on Fujifilm here at all. I love the hell out of Fujifilm. But I mean, that lens is absolutely enormous. So is the 200mm f2 Nikkor, which I also happen to have. Both of them are astronomically enormous. So this size nonsense is out. Mirrorless, of course, is greatly improved when it comes to battery life, and they're still more fragile than like a hardcore pro Canon or a Nikon flagship camera like the D5, which I actually don't like the D5, but not because it's not rugged, but for several other reasons. Nikon D4, which I have a couple Nikon D4s. Those are hardcore workhorses. And the Nikon D4, by the way, has been out for a really long time. Here's another fact. Just shy of 99%, really right at about 100%, of a hardcore sports action wildlife photojournalism photography is still DSLR photography. The other thing that there's this bubble of stupidity. It's like you're in an echo chamber with a bunch of other dweebs. Like if you go, and I've been there before to take pictures at a Comic-Con. I hate comics. I think Comic-Cons are nerdy and horrific beyond belief, but this analogy popped into my head where you've got all these dweebs that think the same thing, and they're all, they're all into the same sort of goofy ass stuff. But like you step 10 feet out into the street, and like, it's like persons, I'm not interested in that comic book crap. There's a bubble. My point being is there's a bubble of photography. And it's the online people, the people that, get in their undies like late at night after they've done their 9-to-5 job, and they troll each other back and forth and spam each other about their latest, greatest camera. There's this aura of the mirrorless, and it's almost entirely online. The photography forum boards, diaper review, YouTube, where we're all clamoring to review the latest, greatest stuff, give recommendations on it. However, most of those recommendations are dishonest because they're actually made by people that have nothing but affiliate links and they're trying to get your money. So the point being is that this, the mirrorless is better, period, and DSLRs are dead. I mean, it's a clickbait video. It's pure clickbait. It's a false analogy to compare film to digital. Therefore, DSLRs to mirrorless is an identical analogy. It's not. When you pop out the media card from a mirrorless camera or a DSLR, the processing and the time involved is the same. It's not like film when you had to pop the roll out and you had to stick it in a dark box, or you stick it on the leader puller and pull the leader, wait for the film to be processed. God, I processed a lot of film. Then you gotta go into the dark room, unless you're using, you should get a $30,000 printing machine, like I used to work at. I used to work at Beach Photo and Video. I also worked for A1A Photo and a couple other places. It is a pain in the ass from start to finish. Other than for video and for focus peaking and chimping off the EVF, once you slap that lens on, you don't know if you know this, people don't seem to realize this, that mirrorless, that mirror in this camera, this DSLR, it doesn't have any issues with weight. Yeah? And there are examples of, by the way, if you're so concerned about IBIS, that there are DSLRs that actually have IBIS mechs, however, not being implemented currently by Pentax, Pentax, Canon, or Nikon. I do know the advantage of on-sensor autofocus. However, that has another problem where you have phase-detect autofocus points causing banding, but it's not really an issue unless you push your exposure in post in Lightroom or Capture One, or you're shooting at really high ISO, so phase-detect autofocus points. But I know the advantages, the autofocus advantages of mirrorless camera. I know all the advantages of mirrorless cameras. This, however, does not imply or impugn DSLR death. It's not. The notion of a hardcore Nikon D5 or D4 replacement being present in a mirrorless camera? No. No, it's not. The last days of old technology are always better and superior than the first days of new technology. Of course, the first days of mirrorless technology is basically a couple of years ago. Batteries improved, buffering is improved. every digital camera is specifically a mirrorless camera. When you go to take the shot, the mirror flips up out of the way. The only thing a mirror does, it's an autofocus device that brings you the optical path into the viewfinder, and then has semi-transparent. It goes to a secondary mirror that drops the information into the autofocus module in the bottom of the light box on a DSLR camera. That's all it is. All DSLR and mirrorless images are specifically irrelevant to the mirror. The mirror is just an optical path to the viewfinder. I don't seem to realize that. Like if you stick this camera on mirror up, it becomes a mirrorless camera. You could feed the back of the LCD display with the information that's dropping on the sensor. Very nice. But I do know all the advantages of a mirrorless camera. I own 7 Fujifilm cameras. Neither Nikon nor Canon have medium format cameras, whether they be mirrorless or otherwise. Fujifilm is kicking it hard. What the hell has Nikon done in the past couple of years? I'm not talking about Nikon in this video. I'm specifically talking about DSLRs versus mirrorless. It's not a DSLR versus mirrorless. You know, other than, like I said, the online photo community, you know, 99% upwards of hardcore sports action, wildlife, and photojournalists and whatnot are using DSLRs. You know, you ever see a press conference, you hear all the flappy mirrors from the Canons and the Nikons going off? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all going to change, you know. Yeah, it's not going to change anytime, you know. Not anytime soon. It's just not. If that were the case, you know, people talk about cameras being obsolete. I mean, still go to, I think the last Super Bowl, I saw a couple people on the sidelines using a Nikon D3. You know how old that camera is? The only reason people use the Nikon D3S still is because the buffer on it is incredible. And for magazine shots, needing more than 12 megapixels is really ridiculous, because you don't. But megapixels are a different matter of discussion. It's not related to DSLRs versus mirrorless, but all digital camera images are mirrorless. People seem to fail to realize what the hell that flappy mirror does or actually is. They don't seem to know. Taking into account all the advantages of mirrorless cameras, this clickbait notion that DSLRs is dead is poppycock, nonsense, and twaddle. I'm sure there's some affiliate links below that video that you could have clicked on that would have made that person more money. Thank you. This has been a viewer response requested video. Seriously, thank you. Bye.